Let's update you on the day's business news. Jukka Roya is joining us here on set, and the world's biggest auto show is back. Not just going to be about cars, though, is it, Jukka?
Well, Germany's biennial mobility show is kicking off this week in Munich for the first time. And this year, electric scooters and other mobility items will be under the spotlight, with the focus being fighting climate change. Still, it's Europe's first major auto trade show since the start of the pandemic, and manufacturers are hoping it will generate some much-needed buzz and cash amid an ongoing global chip shortage. Kerry Scarland reports.
Traditionally, it's a chance for the auto industry to show off the latest, sleekest, most powerful cars. But this year, organisers of the International Motor Show were opting for a change of gear. The German auto industry says the focus will be on climate-neutral mobility. Daimler's CEO says it planned to electrify its model range, but urban infrastructure would need to keep up.
We also need to build up charging infrastructure, which will be a cooperation between governments around the world and industry. And if we all pull together, we can make this switch happen sooner.
Challenges remain, notably a global semiconductor chip shortage, which Daimler sees dragging on into 2022. Although the global auto industry reported record profits for the first half of this year, manufacturers could suffer in the second half, with both the pandemic and chip shortage prompting them to scale back production. Traditionally, the International Motor Show has been held in Frankfurt, but 2019 saw waning attendance numbers, and organisers decided to move the event to Munich. Some residents welcomed the showcase, while others remained skeptic.
Aber interessanterweise kann man wohl sehen, dass die Industrie noch genügend Geld hat, so große Stände aufzubauen. Was ich jetzt nicht negativ meine, aber ich glaube, es gibt auch viel Überzeugungsarbeit zu leisten.
In 2019, some big names chose not to participate in the show, and it will be the case again this year, with General Motors, Toyota and Stellantis giving it a miss.
Now, next to a major energy deal signed between Iraq and France's Total.
The $27 billion deal will see Total Energies build 4 giant energy projects in southern Iraq. The French giant will start with an initial investment of $10 billion and work will start immediately in a project to pour seawater into oil fields to boost crude recovery. Total will also provide funding to build a processing plant for gas produced at 4 gas fields in the region. Iraq's oil minister says the project will help the country reduce its dependence on gas imported from Iran.
Now, let's take a look at what's happening in the world of finance.
Trading here in Europe got off at a positive start at the start of the week, with all major indices mildly up in positive territory at the open. As you can see there, London's FTSE, Paris CAC 40, Frankfurt DAX all up by about 0.3%. Asian shares earlier generally rose this Monday. Chinese shares gained on optimism after the government announced the launch of a new over-the-counter stock exchange in Beijing.
Now then, Britain facing a severe labour crunch. It's not going to go away anytime soon, is it, Jukka?
The UK's main business lobby, CBI, is warning that the crisis could last for up to 2 years. In a statement on Monday, the group sent a message to ministers that waiting for shortages to solve themselves is not the way to run an economy. Director General Tony Danker set out priorities both for businesses and government in the run-up to Christmas, saying that even though companies are already spending significant amounts on training workers, it will take time for shortages to be resolved.
And elsewhere, the United Arab Emirates has announced a plan. This is to make it easier for foreigners to come and work.
It's called the new Green Visa Scheme, and it targets skilled workers, entrepreneurs and top students, and eases visa restrictions for freelancers and others. Now, until now, the UAE has tied employment to residency status, where people had to immediately leave the country if they lose their jobs. Now, the state has decided to ease that rule to try and lure foreign talent over the next decades. It's part of a larger plan to overhaul its finances and attract investment. The government has promised to pour $150 billion into the economy by 2030. Here's the country's trade minister speaking earlier.
Anyone who is living in the UAE is considered part of this economic ecosystem. Again, their presence means that they're creating jobs, they're adding value to our economy, they're attracting more investments, the size of the market is increasing, and our global penetration is increasing as well. So we always consider anyone who lives in the UAE as part of this ecosystem, and we're going to continue doing that.
The change to long-running policy that's often been criticised as giving too much power to employers.
Yuka, thanks very much. Yuka with Business on France 24.